All right, so 63.8% of average disposable income goes to a household. That's not even the biggest problem, even though that was huge. We'll get into that. Let's get into the tariffs between Canada and the United States. What will this do to real estate overall? And that's not even the worst of it. So there's definitely more to come. There's definitely a recession coming. So before we get into this video, let's just talk about the short clip that I would like to share, and then we'll get into the video. All right, so as you can see, housing prices versus the actual income ratio. And in the 90s, obviously we had like the recession, it dipped a little bit, then it started going back. But you see on this particular graph, you see the income versus the housing price. And it's just crazy. Watch when it hits 2000. It like we saw a closer point at one point, but then it just started to be ridiculous. 2005, low interest rates environment started shooting up, and then we hit the global financial crisis, dip a little bit down, CMHC tightening of mortgage rules, but despite that, it went up, and then we hit 2017-18, foreign tax went still bananas. It was like the market kept pushing, but look at the difference in the graph. It is just insane. And then obviously we hit 2002 where it's just insane. So you saw the graph doing literally that. Now what we're facing, it is literally us here in Canada. Maybe not only Canada, there's other parts of the world and other countries feeling the same anxiety, right? But let's talk about Canada. We're bordering obviously United States here, and there are our biggest allies on the continent, right? So just to give you a number, United States buys 8 billion gallons a day from us. So to tell you the truth, that is probably paying for our healthcare system right here in Canada. So now if you mix everything up, right? So what do people want, right? So they want safety. They want an environment where they can move to, migrate to, relocate to see a better, brighter future, to see gains in their investments, to see gain for the other generation, right? That's why Canada, having United States as an ally, right, helping Canadians establish that economy. But having said that, relying on the economy. I am not an expert by any means, okay? But I can see it in real estate, right? People do not want to move to Canada anymore. It's too expensive, and we saw the graph. I showed you the graph, and that is the promise. As soon as you move to Canada, the promise is that in real estate, you will make money. Now, is the atmosphere changing? Is it really the case going to be in the next decade or two? Is it the only thing that we have in Canada? I really don't know. I mean, they're saying we're short on housing, we're short on this, we're missing that. We had the influx of immigration in the last few years. That was crazy, which did not really move the needle. It moved the needle to a point, but it really didn't move the needle, right? So now we have tariffs from the United States. Obviously, we are countering back, right? But just that data point from the beginning, 63.8% of an average income, it's needed to support your household. And guess what? That was in 2022. So this statistic is from 2022. All right. So let's argue that point a little bit here. Now, in 2022, we had low interest rates. We had a high real estate peak market at the time. but the ongoing affordability was the way it was, right? Still expensive, but people kept moving forward, right? So what happened from 2022 till today? In order to people to go through rough times, rough patches, they, and we had these high interest rates, high taxes, and all of that stuff that happened from 2022 all the way to 2025. They kept borrowing. These average income families had to dip into their savings, which were on average very minimal, or they had to find another stream of income. Most of people couldn't find another stream, but what they have found is a line of credit, a HELOC, or something like that, borrowing against their property. Now, on this channel, you're probably watching. If you're a newcomer, you're welcome. But most of people that see this, they're like, it's doom and gloom, and what are you talking about? 2025 is the best year. Okay, it could be the best year for you. Congratulations. But I got off the phone with a colleague, a friend of mine, a lawyer. He said foreclosures, okay? People trying to get out of these condo deals. By the way, 2025, 40,000 units are ready for occupancy in 2025, and 2026 another 30 or 35,000, right? Pre-con. So a lot of people are trying to get out of these deals. A lot of people losing their homes. A lot of people are underwater, and they're hoping, praying in so many languages just for the pain to go away. Well, let me tell you something. It will not go away. You're deep in the hole. You have to wake up. You have to find another solution, because what you have been doing so far, it's not working. Okay? So if it means downsizing, if it means selling it for a loss today so you can make a better future tomorrow, then that's your maybe exit. I don't know, right? Stop spending, right? And I see that people are buying, people actually stopped trading their cars, and that market is completely upside down, all right? Nobody's trading, nobody has equities in their car. I don't remember talking to anybody lately that has traded their vehicle in the last, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, that they have some equity. They traded, they bought, they're upside down. So even if they would give away their car, they would still have a loan on their car. That's what that means, being upside down. And the same identical thing is happening to the real estate market. Even if they sell, they would lose their down payment, or they will lose their equity, and so many other things. I had a case in towards the end of 2024, right? That particular family was borrowing against their property. They couldn't breathe anymore. And finally, they obviously calculated whatever they had to calculate, and they wanted out. So they got out, the first mortgage, the first registered mortgage on title was paid off, but then everything else that was borrowed against that property also had to be paid off, right? And they didn't realize that, right? They called me back and they're like, we're missing close to $300,000. I said, excuse me? It's like, yeah, we were missing because somebody screwed up something, you, lawyer, somebody, but we were missing close to $300,000. I'm like, look, I get it if it's $3. It doesn't even happen, even 3 cents. But I understand, right? Maybe a typo or something like that, right? It can happen, right? But usually it doesn't happen, right? But they did not realize that they had to pay the debt back plus interest, right? Ongoing interest. So anyways, they're happy. Now said and done. 6 months later, they're like, oh my God, thank God we downsized. They moved out of the city. For them, it made sense, retired, whatnot. But just seeing the process for them, it was very painful. They're like, oh my gosh, I'm out 300 out of my pocket. No, you're not out $300,000 out of your pocket. You never had that money to begin with. It was borrowed money, never yours. Do you understand? So anyways, and getting back to the tariffs from the United States and Canada and all that, it can have a huge, tremendous impact, not only economically, not only with the barrels of oil, not only in so many different ways. It's just people not feeling comfortable, right? Investing. And today, it almost doesn't make sense, right? If you, I did these calculations on my channel, so many videos I did on that. And you know, like if you have to purchase, let's say an average house of $1.23 million in Toronto, you know, setting a down payment of 20% would set you back, you know, around $250,000 by the time you're done and all of that stuff. Your payments with tax and everything else would be nearing $10,000 a month, right? With you investing, like having your skin in the game, over $250,000. And then you have a house that you probably don't like because an average house in Toronto for 1.23 million, it sucks. It's a garage with an added small room on it. That's it, right? So when you take all of these components into play, right? And then we can go to the same house across the street and you can rent it for $3,000, $4,000, right? So you keep your money, ongoing cost a month is so much better, right? And you can actually live. Plus, you cannot even afford it. Even if I gave you $300,000 as a gift and said, go, just take the mortgage of $1 million, you cannot even carry it. So the carrying cost, it's not there anymore. So the next generation, so few things might happen. There's no money coming in, nobody's investing. Whether it's safe or not, we can debate that. But one thing that investors, business people, entrepreneurs, idiots, call them whatever you want, what they like is profits. That's what they like. If I will invest $100,000 and I can make X, I'm willing to do it. $1 million, I'm willing to do it. $1 billion, that doesn't matter the amount. But if it makes sense, it makes sense. So I believe the United States, with President Trump, what he's trying to achieve is to summarize its economy within so people feel comfortable and they can project some kind of profits in the short, long future, whatever the case might be. So I hope you got some good nuggets. I hope you can think about this video when you switch to the next one, and just think about it for a second and think where you are. Because if it doesn't make sense, you got to change. If this style doesn't work, you got to change, you got to move. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you would like to continue, there are more videos on the channel. You can click here or here, and I will see you in the next one.